And we're singing. We're singing. Dun, 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 dun. Time to talk. Beauty and the Bitch. It's the final countdown.
Dun 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 dun.
It's a fun. Okay, no, that was.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I was like, those are the only words I know.
I think they're literally the only words on that song.
I don't even know. Is that a Journey song?
Oh, I don't. I think very much no, but I can't tell you for certain.
Maybe it was by Journey.
Off-brand Journey?
Little known off-brand Journey.
Just like we're off-brand Beauty and the Beast, we're Beauty and the Bitch. Thank you, listeners, for coming back to us. I am Morgan.
My name is Mick, and you did that so smooth, Morgan. I was just and all the way through it, because I didn't even know you were doing the titles.
Well, you're the hype dude.
Well, what? Yeah! I could do that job.
And you're so good.
Thank you so much.
Good.
You're middling.
So, okay, well, that was expected and, like, not uncalled for, I guess. Whatever. But it is, of course, the final countdown because we are here today to talk about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which in movie form is part 1 and part 2, which is how we will be presenting our discussion in podcast formats.
But for the record, of course, we've done part 1, part 2 for books 4 through 6 as well?
I think 4 through 6 because it's too much information.
It's just they're such big books and we have so many feelings.
So many.
Mostly you. I'm I'm a staple genius, but you're all over the place.
You should put that on your resume since you're editing.
Genius. Oh my god.
You should take up all your work experience and just put
staple genius. Oh my god. And then the only person that called me back would be wearing like 4 MAGA hats at once.
I love I hate everything. But I love the acronym MAGA.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because it sounds awful and it is awful.
And it is awful.
MAGA. You're a MAGA supporter?
What are those words that sound like what they are? Like sploosh, bam. They're called
onomatopoeia?
Yes, it's almost like an onomatopoeia because it sounds as gross as it is.
Look at me, I'm a staple genius.
Yes! So, Morgie, I don't even I don't want it to be over.
I know, but this is only part 1 of part 2. So,
That's true.
We're here for the next foreseeable future of our entire lives to discuss this. So let's not think of it too much as the end. It's the prelude to the finale.
Okay, but what about next episode?
Yeah, and that's happening really soon. Yeah. We'll just cry then. But for now, I think we're going to be fine. Let's keep it together.
Okay. So, first of all, do you like this book? How do you feel about book 7? What are your feelings?
About book 7, I love...
Specifically, I suppose, the first half, but just overall.
Yes. Overall, I loved book 7. The structure of the part 1 of the film, I feel like despise is too strong a word, but I rewatched it and I was like so against watching it. I was like, if I never have to watch this part again, maybe I won't.
You'll be fine. You're talking about when they're in the marshland, just walking.
Well, that's half the movie.
It is, yeah. It lasts until they get to Gringotts, really.
Well, and everybody's so, moody, and, I get it because there's the aspect of the Horcrux and, all this stuff or whatever, but it's just, it's very dark and gritty and, I don't know. It's not a thing I want to watch.
But, I mean, here's my thing. Facts are facts. You could have just hung that Horcrux on a nail beside you. They did not have to wear it around.
They read The Lord of the Rings, and they thought Frodo had something with carrying around the ring, and they wanted to be like him.
Couldn't they put in a little medicine bag and hang around their chest, though? Why does it have to touch their skin?
I mean, are they fucking witches and wizards, or are they not? Is there not some other magical keepsake protection, invisible area that this could have lived that's not around their neck?
Wrap it in the sword of Gryffindor. I don't care. Something's got to be better than what they did.
Yeah.
It almost broke them apart.
Put it inside of Rowena Ravenclaw.
Yeah, queen.
Right inside of her.
That's where I keep most of my things.
Yeah, me too.
She's very useful.
She's also was a babe, so.
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about... Now, Rowena Ravenclaw is not the Great Lady, though, right?
No.
That's her daughter.
That's her daughter.
Yes. I like her daughter. She's pretty fierce.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I like her grayness.
I feel it, yeah. But yeah, overall, book 7 I think was a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's nothing harder than bringing an end to something that is well loved. And there's nothing that has more scrutiny surrounding it than the end of the Harry Potter series. Like, I believe that 100%. Like, there has never been an audience for something the way there was an audience for Harry Potter. So the amount of pressure that she was under to wrap this up, I think she did a great job. She made some hard choices. She made some choices that that were like the easy choice for her to make, and she could have, varied from those. A lot of people feel strongly about the Ron Hermione love triangle and the Ginny Harry thing. But I think overall she did a lot of bold things, and I was satisfied at the end. At the end, I was like, of course I wanted more, but I was like, great job. You did it. How did you feel?
The same. Primarily the same. I do remember, I do think the book is an achievement. I think it's very well written. I think it's much better than books 5 and 6, for example, personally.
I agree.
In fact, it's in my top 3
Me too.
Of Harry Potter books. I do think even the first part of the book, to me, I remember dragging a bit. The same bit. And it's supposed to drag, I suppose. It seems like she wanted to do that while they're walking through the marshlands and life is so hard. But, like, I just wasn't living for it. To be fair, though, I also wasn't living when Sam and Frodo tromped through fucking Mordor for 8.5 books, it felt like. So
8.5 books inside a trilogy.
Exactly. That's what I said. It was a trilogy in a trilogy, girl. Or an octa-illogy.
Mom.
What's an 8-book series called? Octology. Maybe.
I guess.
I don't know. Proctology. I know I like proctology,
that's
but
a series to me.
I mean, yeah, that's deep. Yeah. That's right. Well, anyway, overall, I liked it. I will tell you this. I've only read it once. And that's because I don't like the endings of things. Like, I hate when things end. So, it's on purpose. It's not because I didn't like it that I haven't read it again, but I don't know. I just don't want it to be over, I guess, honestly. Yeah. And I will tell you, I want to make sure I'm not lying. I think I ripped the epilogue out of my book.
Oh, he's checking, babies.
No, it's in here, but I wanted to, and I fully thought I remembered cutting it out with an X-Acto knife.
You felt like it was an unnecessary second end.
Yes, I mean, yes, and badly written also. I hated the epilogue. It really put a dirty taste in my mouth. After what I thought was an amazing book. But I mean, that is really splitting hairs. It's like 9 pages long, so like whatever.
I think the epilogue, I mean, this is like I guess more of a part 2 discussion, but I think the epilogue was an interesting choice that maybe we should dive into in part 2 of our discussion.
Morgan's an epilogue liker, everyone. No. Unsubscribe now.
I am not claiming to like or dislike epilogue. I just want to talk about it further. But yeah, I just finished this book recently because I was rereading the series actually for the podcast recordings, and it also happened to just coincide with my trip to the UK to watch The Cursed Child, so it was like perfect timing to finish it right before I saw that play, which is exactly what happened. And that was a really great pairing that I felt like for me as like a personal life experience, like wrapping up a reread of the series and then stepping into this like theatrical version of the the play or whatever. And like it was perfect timing.
During that reread, not only were you discussing it in depth with friends, but you went to the Harry Potter world thing.
Yeah,
right?
and
during the full, not of that book, but of your full series reading.
I've had a year of Harry Potter.
You really have?
I have
That's
had
fabulous.
like a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a deep dive.
It's been a deep dive. Now, we've discussed this. I'm in the very middle class.
Oh, you're middle class.
But I have 3 credit cards.
Uh-oh. Now, see, 3 credit cards, that's middle class. 5 credit cards, that's upper middle class. 10 credit cards is lower class, and that's how you know. You know what I mean? It's you're successful in horrible debt. That's how it goes.
I want to see that written out as like a pyramid.
It makes sense to my head. It really does.
It makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, you're right, Queen. 10 credit cards. Give up."
It's too real.
You know what I really did love about the first movie, at least of part 7, book 7, part 1.
What?
Everyone is beautiful now.
They all
beautiful.
long-bottomed.
Yeah, they're all stunning.
Yeah.
Everybody's stunning.
Even Ron Weasley.
Even Ron Weasley's looking fine.
Yeah.
You know, I did notice a couple shots where they had Harry taking his shirt off, no problem. And then I noticed they did a very artistic loop around Ron Weasley, and I was like...
Was it in the beginning when he was changing?
I was like, oh, Ron Weasley got a belly, and y'all don't want to show that. And I was like, yeah, give Ron Weasley his belly time. It's fine.
I actually love the scene where they're all like they're all the different Harrys or whatever at the beginning to travel or whatever. Flora was like, Bill, don't look at me, I'm disgusting, or whatever she said. Like, that's still so, like, classic and hilarious. That whole thing is just, like, hilarious to look at, and I think they did that scene really well, and I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And a really good way to start off.
A really good way.
By the way, I mean, this is a little early than I thought I was going to do it, but up to page 481, right, is the first movie. So page 1 to 481 in the book is part 1. There are 5 big important people who die in that first half of the book.
Okay.
Really, they start dying very early. Do you think you can name... They're not all people, technically.
Yeah, I think I could.
Oh, yeah? And to see if you can name 5. There's really like 14, but most of them don't matter.
First piece?
Most of them are not important, though, people.
So we have that teacher in the very first scene. She's at the Malfoy Manor. Is she not one of the people you wrote down? She
isn't, but she was one of the ones I was like, yeah, but she's not that important.
She was the Muggle Studies teacher. I can't remember what her name is right this moment.
I'm looking it up right now. I will find it.
And then
Charity Burbage.
Yes, Charity Burbage. Actually, what a cute name too.
Yeah, poor sweet baby.
So she's dead as fuck.
Dead as fuck. Good job.
Then we have Hedwig.
Yes.
So, Charity doesn't count. She's not on your list. So we have Hedwig.
Still counts.
Okay. So Charity and Hedwig, and then we have Mad-Eye Moody.
Which I was shocked. One of the veterans.
In the book, it was jarring.
It was.
Jarring.
I didn't even look. When Hedwig cried in the books, I immediately started bawling. I don't know why I love that Hedwig so much, but I just couldn't.
Well, and it happened so quickly, and because, like, the book was, like, it was the end, and, like... We got the book, like, as soon as it came out, and it was like we were having a moment in so many ways that, I also cried. When
Rowling's telling you immediately, like, you thought this is Harry Potter? This is Game of Thrones, bitch.
Girl, wet
anybody's dead.
Everyone's dead. She's like, Harry, you're next.
And you know what's even worse is old Mad-Eye, you're at 3, I won't forget.
Okay.
Old Mad-Eye got killed because Mundungus Fletcher tried to flee, and he went after Mundungus. Mundungus
Fletcher.
I mean, Mad-Eye was not a favorite character of mine, but he should have been in the Battle of Hogwarts. He deserved that. He fought his entire life.
Who else died? Dobby is the bookend, I know for a fact. But then there's like 2 more people that matter in the middle of there.
I'll give you a hint.
Yes, please.
One of them dies in the book, but not the movie.
Is it a main side character? Wormtail? I don't remember that.
In the books, he hesitates to do something,
and his hand kills him. I do remember that. Yeah. R.I.P. Jagoff.
Yeah, fuck that guy. But I think in the movies, they just, like, Petrificus Totalis him or something.
I think so.
He gets.
Yeah, you're right. When they're in the dungeon.
But I don't think he ever shows. Maybe he was at the Battle of Hogwarts, but I don't remember seeing him.
Can you give me another hint for the other thing?
Oh, sure.
Just a little smidge hint.
The other one, he's a dark wizard, but I'm not talking about Voldemort.
Oh, Grindelwald gets killed. You're right. When he's in, he gets a little visit from Voldy.
Just a little social call. Just, do you have some sugar?
Yeah, so R.I.P. all of those people, plus some other miscellaneous.
I mean, there's like some muggles. Rufus Scrimmager.
Oh, you're right,
dies.
the Prime Minister.
And he dies really well, because he won't tell them where Harry Potter is. I mean, he's a hero, but he wasn't there long enough. A whole family of muggles. Gorgovich. Gregorovich.
Yeah. Also Voldy.
And Bathilda Bagshot.
Yes.
That's the other one.
Behind the scenes death situation.
Yeah. And then old Nagini gets in her body.
I'm not a fan. I'm not into it.
People have told me I'm a snake in human form, but I don't think they meant it quite like that, girl.
Well, I think the look is similar, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna bite you, bitch. You saw what happened to Snape. Spoilers.
Also, that's a super later thing, but like, why, of all the deaths and all the manners that Voldemort chooses to do, would he be like, instead of like pulling out his little wand, using
he loves
it?
Avada Kedavra, doesn't he?
He loves it! He's like, no, we're gonna try something different. I'm just gonna like workshop my new murder method.
It seemed like shade to me.
For like a very important,
like, it was
you need to be
insulting.
sure this person is dead as fuck. And he literally left that person alive and was like, he's probably gonna die. Like, it was such an important thing to the whole, it was mission critical. It was a mission critical death, and he just casually was like, peace, see you later, hope you're dead.
Yeah, Nagini, you got it!
So, to me, that was
ridiculous.
They did it, obviously, because they needed it to happen for the Harry situation.
Sure.
But, like, to me, it was so blatantly, like, that would never happen. He would never do that.
He loves to Avada Kedavra a bitch. He would have just done it.
He literally just does it for
Swish
fun
flick,
to his
swish
friends.
Flick. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He killed people left and right, no reason.
Another thing that is really interesting is, like, kind of like a... not like a retconning thing, but like after the fact, J.K. Rowling was asked about the pronunciation of Lord Voldemort, and she said that she wrote it to be pronounced without the T. It's really Lord Voldemort.
Oh.
And they don't practice that at all in the film,
No.
which is interesting because she was a consultant, so like why would she not have told them? But in the play, it's Voldemort.
Ooh.
Very distinctly Voldemort.
Ooh.
Not Mort.
Is that, it's like French or something?
Yeah, it's like a French thing. But also...
Oh, she's such a shady English person.
So I don't really understand, like, why make the change later? Like, I would either just stick with Voldemort for consistency. That's what I would do. Because it's weird. And then also, if it's Lord Voldemort, you don't pronounce the T, and the T is essential because T is for Tom. I am Tom Riddle. To me, it's whatever, but that's just the thing that happened.
Yeah,
that
okay.
I wanted to tell you about.
You know what? Now, we've talked about this before. What's it called where you mix up the words? Skiddly-gams?
Yeah, exactly.
Godly boops?
Yeah.
She's not good at those. I may not know what they're called. Anagrams. But that's not her. Look, she has many strings.
I'm not good at
that's
that
not
either.
one of them. Hey, me neither.
Not 0%.
You know? But if she had named him Riddle instead...
the T is silent.
Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe I could have got down with that. No, I've never heard that before. Quinn.
Yeah, it's weird as hell.
I actually kind of like Lord Voldemort more than Lord Voldemort, personally, but I think it sounds more evil.
But consistency.
But yeah, and also, like, that's not how you... Why... The world's your oyster. Why spell it that way?
Girl, I cannot tell you.
You know what? Speaking of things that I can't really explain, they cut Dudley Dursley's very slight redemption at the end of book 7.
Yes.
They cut that out of the movies. I was really sad about that, actually, because it showed growth on Dudley's part, and it showed you that maybe he wouldn't grow up to be his father.
At the beginning of the movie, or the book, when they had to leave, Dudley was like, but, like, why do we have to leave Harry, or whatever?
Yeah.
And he had that very moment where he was like, shook his hand or gave him a hug or something.
Yeah.
And Harry was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
But Dudley was very, like, wanted to make sure he was okay.
Dudley's growing up.
Yeah, he had a transformation. And we have talked before about the fan theory that Harry's status as a Horcrux affects the Dursleys and their levels of terribleness. Like, not to say they're not terrible without being around a Horcrux, but we saw what a Horcrux did to Ron, and he only was around a Horcrux for, like, literally weeks, and they were with...
2, really.
Yeah. Well, I guess they were around Harry all the time. Well, that fucks this up, but they're already inherently bad people, so being around, but Dudley being kind of like a fresh, moldable child, he was evil by proxy and like was of course a horrible person, and he was around a Horcrux, so maybe him getting that space from Harry allowed him to mature into like a more caring person than his parents.
It honestly, that makes sense to me, actually. Because, I mean, it's one thing to be friends with Harry at Hogwarts, which is where Ron and Hermione and everyone else are really friends with him. Like, there's so many protections, there's so much magic, and also, they're not like, actually growing up with him the way Dudley did. You know, they spent every day together as children, you know? I mean, you're right. I don't blame Dudley Dursley for anything. He's a sweet angel from heaven, and Harry Potter is evil incarnate. All right, see you later, folks. Bye.
This has been a wrap.
So I was sad they cut his little redemption. I thought that was important, personally. And they didn't cut. I have to tell you, these movies are very loyal to the books. They didn't cut very much. So every time they cut something, I'm very much like, they must have had a legit reason. I think they just wanted to get into it already, and that was slowing things down too much. But, I don't know, I missed it. I wish they also would have had Wormtail die, but maybe that was too graphic.
Maybe, but it would have been a really nice touch because he's also like somebody we've hated for so long. Mm-hmm. It would have been nice to see him go.
Oh, girl, I want to see him sputter for breath.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why I'm a Slytherin. I ain't messed up.
Girl,
I'll bite you right in the neck. You know, they also cut, there's another irritating person they cut. He's a former headmaster. And they have a portrait of him.
Oh, yeah. The Black.
Phineas Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant, like, the Black family. That came out, like, sure, not great.
Sure.
He was most likely white. His last name was Black.
But yeah, he was, like, their lifeline in the book. Because when they were in the tent,
he was a go-between. Uh-huh.
And they just cut him all together. Which, actually, I didn't mind, to be honest. Because it made it feel more claustrophobic and, like...
disconnected.
Yeah, and just like desperate.
They didn't really do the Potter Watch Network either. Like, I think a couple times they showed Ron in the background surfing the channels, but I loved the Potter Watch stuff in the books. I felt like, first of all, it was nice to reincorporate Lee Jordan, who we're all big fans of.
Yes, with his tarantula. And by that, I do mean his dick.
Yeah. But it was also like, I feel like it really added an extra tension, too, because they were sort of just waiting around to see if the people they loved were dead. Mm-hmm. And, like, that almost makes it worse, like, if you have a way to confirm instead of just being, like, in the dark. Mm-hmm. Because, like, if somebody, you know, if they heard over the radio, like, Mrs. Weasley was dead, that would really affect their mission. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot.
Yeah, they were just all... I mean, and maybe that's why it felt so slow in the movie, is because they cut all of these different sources. Yeah. I really do think they did that on purpose, but maybe it just wasn't the right choice, at least for us as viewers.
And Hermione, of course, is brilliant in every way, and had packed away for days and had everything ready to go in her little purse with an extendable charm.
She's so great.
Like, when Ron was like, we would literally be dead without her in 2 days. And then he was like, but don't tell her I said that.
No.
I was like, that's so much truth. So much truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ron definitely would die. Harry's a survivor. He might crawl through the mud and become like a Gollum-esque type
But
thing.
He didn't even know those, like, the enchantments for protection.
Oh, don't get me wrong. They need her desperately.
Yeah, she's
desperately.
Smart.
Oh, my God.
But, so they had some tools to bring along, even though, you know, they were still missing some things to achieve success. Dumbledore left them some tools to bring along. Let's talk about the will of Albus Percival Wilfrid Brian Dumbledore.
Oh, so we're going to be going deep.
We're going deep. I know we were going to talk about this a little later, but I wanted to talk a little bit about these things that he left for them. And then my more important question on these things he left for them is, why didn't he leave them more things?
Yeah.
He knew he was going to die for a whole year. He had ample time to plan for their futures.
And you can see from this discombobulated plan of what he left them, he's not afraid to leave a complicated, crazy-ass plan, you know.
It's mind-boggling to me that he did not leave them more. And I know that, like, that's a jab people do at Harry, like, oh, Dumbledore's real helpful for you, huh? It's like, haha, he's not. But, like, honestly, why not?
Maybe he was afraid that someone would interfere. Maybe he was afraid the stuff wouldn't get to them. You know what I mean? So maybe he was trying to give them hints and help that if somehow it didn't get to them, wouldn't guarantee success for the opposite side. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only excuse I can come up with. Because look here, girl. He gave you a book of nursery rhymes about the Deathly Hallows, right? Mm-hmm. And he done gave them a snitch that Harry got his first game, won his first game with, and the Deluminator, right? That's some useless shit.
Well, And, like, he could have even, because the snitch has flesh memory, he could even have hidden answers, or could he have put an extendable charm on inside that snitch and put a bunch of other stuff inside? Girl. Like, I feel like...
Because no one would think to kiss a snitch. Harry didn't even think about it for
ages.
No,
and it would have to be Harry's lips. Like, only his lips can open that snitch. I just feel certain that there was a workaround, because even with they'll search these things, they were never going to be able to open the snitch. They obviously couldn't detect the resurrection stone with any kind of, like, magical secrecy detectors. So he could have hidden something else inside the snitch that could have either led to more help or more things. I don't know. I just feel certain that there was a workaround and that he blatantly chose to just leave them 3 things. Well, 4 things, the Sword of Gryffindor, but...
I guess that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of... He didn't really have a lot of choice in that, right? Like, the Sword of Gryffindor kind of chose them, didn't it? And later chose Neville, right?
But he left it for them in the will. Like, he put...
Oh, he did.
He put the Sword of Gryffindor as a second thing to Harry in the will, and then the Prime Minister was like, but it's not his to give away, unfortunately. But I think he left it in there just as the clue to, like, hey, use the Sword of Gryffindor to kill. Yes. Which Hermione eventually got back around to.
And the Deluminator really is just what it is, right? There's no secret with the Deluminator.
No, there is a secret.
What was the secret?
Because Ron was able to travel to their location using the Deluminator. There was remember, because he left, he apparated out, and then he wanted to come back, but he couldn't. And then there was like a spell, because he couldn't find where they were, and Harry and Ron went weeks without saying Ron's name. And then when Hermione finally spoke Ron's name aloud again, Ron could hear it through the Deluminator. It was like she was calling to him, but really she just said it. There was like a spell attached to her saying his name aloud that allowed him to use the Deluminator to apparate back to their position.
I don't remember that. Oh, yeah. That was in the movie?
It was in that. So it was in the book. The way that they do it in the movie is Ron says... They're like, how did you find us? And he says, I was like sitting in a bar, like cuddled up, trying to not get caught by snatchers. And I heard it out of nowhere. And Hermione's like, what? And he was like, your voice. I heard it. And all you said was my name, just Ron. And he said he heard it coming from the Deluminator, and he opened it up and a little ball of light floated. And then it went straight to his heart. And then he, like, knew where to go to.
Schmaltzy ass
Yeah.
shit.
So it was a version of that in the book, but there's, like, a magic in the Deluminator tied specifically to that.
See,
Dumbledore
some
created.
fucking... Those are some hijinks. Now, how did Dumbledore know? That's fine. I mean, well, I'll tell you what, though. Since we're going deep... I know that I would want, of the things Dumbledore left in his will, I do want the Deluminator, though, because I do be hating to get out of bed to turn off the lights.
It is a fascinatingly cool piece of magic.
Which one would you pick of those 3?
I really want this, like, OG original copy of Tales of Beetle the Bard.
Oh, yeah? You want that old book?
I want to search for the tiny imperfections and additional runes that Dumbledore has written into the margins of things. And I want to, like... translate the ancient runes with like a book. Like I want to lay down with like 3 books deep, like looking across them, translating context, and then like just like sharing that information and like trying to work out the puzzle of it.
Oh, so you're trying to come for Hermione in Ancient Runes class is what I'm hearing.
You know, Ancient Runes is never a class I was like, that sounds interesting, but the thought of being deep in those woods with nothing to do to me is horrifying, and I would need this project to keep me busy.
Speaking of having nothing to do, and fair enough, I think that the book is definitely a thing I'd want second. The Snitch don't nobody want because no one can use it but Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And inside it has the fucking... Was it have
Resurrection
the... Yeah, which who the fuck wants that?
Harry.
I guess so. Well, okay, so since we're going deep, there are 3 Deathly Hallows, right?
There are.
Deathly Hallows.
Hallows.
You've got the wand, the cape, and the stone.
The cloak, yeah.
Yes. Which of the 3 would you want, and why?
So I think this is an excellent question.
Of course it's an excellent question. I asked it.
And our friends, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, answered this question. Do we want to talk about their choices first or our choices?
We can talk about what they picked
correctly.
incorrectly.
Because they all thought at the end of hearing the tale of the three brothers, they were like, well, there's an obvious choice, right? And they all like said it at the same time. Hermione said the cloak. Ron said the wand. And Harry said the resurrection stone. So I think Harry's choices, it makes the most sense because it's not like power that he values or secrecy. He really does value like love and acceptance and family because he was devoid of it for so long. Yeah,
but do you remember what happened to...
It's very sad. It's very sad.
Well, but I mean, what I'm saying is, though, it doesn't bring people back. It brings back zombies, though.
But like, I think to him, it's the same thing as the Mirror of Erised, where it's like, even though it's not real, it's like just even like having a piece of something that he never had was like for him fulfilling. I think it's horrifying. That's the thing I would want last.
And I think Harry did hanging himself just like the brother did when he realized, oh, that's not my mom. That's a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
Some Walking Dead bullshit. Yeah. Okay.
Hermione saying the cloak, I think, is very Hermione because it's so practical. Because she's like, well, we have one of those and we use it thoroughly and we do good with it and it's very effective. So for her, she's like, we need this tool. We have play tested this tool. This tool has been very handy. Life without this tool would be difficult. I choose this tool.
Now, by this tool, you mean Ron?
Not yet, but it's coming up.
Oh, okay.
And Ron, of course, values power and coolness.
Of course. That's obviously the worst one, though. But I think, of the three, because people are going to come for you for that the minute they know you have it. Like,
why don't we, on 3, say the thing that we want?
Okay.
But we'll go like 1, 2, 3, and then we'll say it.
Okay, great.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. The
Big
cloak!
dick! Oh, I messed it up, Morgan. I'm so sorry. I also want the cloak. Yeah. I'm sorry for fucking with you. Yeah. To me, it's obvious. Like, it's obvious.
It's
now,
the thing.
If the resurrection stone could literally bring people back from the dead, that's a different story.
Yeah, but they're just shadows. Well, it's weird, though, because they can interact. They're shadows. They're, like, very alive shadows that you just can't touch. I don't know. It's almost worse.
Yeah.
It's almost worse.
I just don't... It's just horrible. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see the wand. Like, I see arguments for the wand, but not for me.
No, because also the wand is a dangerous hallow to own. People are always trying to kill you. And they do, even if you don't have it anymore.
Girl, with that cloak, I could be stealing. I could be by myself. I could be jaywalking.
There's so many values to the cloak.
I mean, it's just amazing. It is amazing. It literally makes you a superhero in the way the other two I don't.
It's great in every way. It's the obvious answer.
Yeah. You know what I loved in the first movie, though? Even though I admit to you it was kind of a drudge. I loved when they get into that fight in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Because it's very, like, urban magic that we don't often get from Harry Potter. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought it was a good fight scene, too. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was an interesting scene. And, like, I don't know.
It was exciting.
That was one of the high points for me.
Also, when she apparated them to that Shaftesbury Avenue or whatever, I was there when we went to London. It's in, like, Piccadilly Circus Square or whatever. And I was like, oh, my God, I was just there.
Did you get splinched?
I did, but it was had nothing to do with that.
Is that what happened to your face?
It's actually why my leg is brown.
Oh, is your leg brown? I had no idea.
Honestly, just like only a part of it.
Oh.
Like some of it's white, in case people are wondering.
That black man.
From the black family.
The man from the black family. The man from... No, their last name is Black. He's a man.
Oh, it's a lose-lose.
So we haven't talked yet about, I think, one of the most controversial moments that they added into the movie. It involves two of our characters being rhythmic together, alone in a tent.
Oh, that fucking dance?
Yes. What did you think of the dance?
It's awkward.
Between Harry and Hermione, probably.
Well, first of all, the look on Daniel Radcliffe's face was very, like, sexual and, like, not friendly. Like, he, like, sat down and he was all, like, staring at her. And, like, I think there's a face for, like, concerned friend, and Dan's not great with faces, to be honest. But, like, there's a face for concerned friend, and he was expressing that 0% effectively.
Yeah.
So, like, his expression was sort of like... weird, and to me that made it weird. It was like kind of sweet because actually Emma Watson did great acting during that scene. Her acting was fantastic.
Yeah. She's a great actress. Yeah, she's a good actress.
But I was just like not into the concept of it because of the Dan situation. Personally,
I think hot take. I really loved it actually, and I think it could. I think it could have been in the book. It wasn't, but I don't think it would have been crazy or outside the box. I agree with you that he was wrong, but I thought Emma Watson saved the moment.
Her expressions and everything, like she really acted the shit out of that scene. Yeah. It was great. She's so subtle.
And I think as long as you don't see a scene like that and immediately think that they want to fuck, which again, he did not help with his crazy
his face
faces.
Was just like...
He was making fuck faces. He was. But she gave it to us. She gave us the friendship. And I just thought it was sweet and a moment of just... I needed that moment of sweetness.
Yeah, because so much was dark and heavy. It was like a nice reprieve. And like, in the movies in particularly, Harry and Hermione were very best friendy. Like, we've talked about this before. Like, in the books, Ron is very much more the forefront friend in a lot of ways.
Yeah, most ways.
And Hermione is sort of like the third wheel, and like not a like negative way. She's very essential and like crucial and central to everything. But it's the Harry and Ron show. Like, they're best friends. But in the movies, it turns more into the Hermione-Harry thing, and they always put Hermione in the middle so she can be right in the middle of them to kind of like bridge them, and that's just not how it is in the book. Like she doesn't bridge Harry and Ron.
No, she's really off doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And then,
she's very independent in the book. Yeah. Like, she needs them because they're best friends, but she's also like, bye, see you never, I've got things to do.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I didn't tell you I'm a professor of advanced chemistry at Oxford? Yeah, I've been doing that every other Thursday.
She totally would. But seeing friendship moments between men and women is really important, and no matter how you feel about Hermione's choice of lovers, I think her friendship with Harry is very important because the fact that he is the most famous wizard in the world and she does not want to fuck him makes me happy. It makes me happy.
Me too. Yeah. Because essentially every other girl that he meets, I guess not Luna, but like a lot of girls do want him just for his fame.
Romilda Vane.
Oh, she's so gorgeous though.
She
I
really
love that Romilda Vane.
He should have been so lucky.
Girl, he should have got
Hermione
up in the
was
hair.
Just jealous.
Oh, who wasn't jealous? I didn't know who I was jealous of, but I knew I was jealous.
Lips of an angel.
Ooh, Romilda.
We should start a fan club.
I liked her. And also, anyone who's going to try to fucking dose a boy with a love potion, I'm like, girl, it's not like I'm saying it's right, but I see you. I do see you, and I understand.
Yeah, so that was a moment.
I mean, overall, I liked the first half of book 7, and I liked the first movie of the two, but I think it's definitely placed second fiddle to the second half.
For sure. It gets kind of hyped there at the end, right? Yep. Where the bank escape is...
Oh, yeah, I do love that.
Because we go through the dungeon and the torturing and Dobby's death. Oh, Hermione getting tortured by Bellatrix is like one of my pivotal moments in the book and in the movie.
Well, that actually happens in the second movie.
No, it's right before Dobby dies. Because Bellatrix throws the knife at Dobby when they're apparating out of there.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it totally does. I just watched it on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Because Dobby dies, and then they bury him at the beginning of the second movie. And then they meet
the goblin who gets them into Gringotts.
Yeah, that's in the first one.
That's all in the second movie.
Well, how does the first movie end?
More or less with Dobby's death. And then, like, arriving in the... I think.
Yeah, but Dobby dies after he saves them and they save the goblin. They meet the goblin at the Malfoy Manor.
Yeah, but then they go back to the other house, and then they plan everything, and they meet the wand maker, and then they go to Gringotts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they met him before when they were in the dungeon together.
Yeah.
But yeah, they, like, essentially have conversations later, yeah. Yeah.
But, so go ahead and say I'm right.
No, Hermione gets tortured in the first movie.
No, I'm talking about the dragon release.
Oh, yes, the dragon thing.
Oh, sure. Oh, now America, she pretends like it was all a misunderstanding.
I thought you were talking about Hermione.
This happened with Ashley. Y'all try to be coming at me for when things happen in books. I read this book once. 10 years ago.
No, you're right. The dragon thing was for sure the second half.
But you know what? You're right. The Hermione torture was first half.
Oh, girl. Girl. And I really love that moment because, like, Hermione gets... She lives mostly unscathed in the series because her family's not involved. She kind of just... A lot of bad things don't happen to her directly. So that was, I felt like, a big moment for her character.
Her screams, like, echoing through the manor were, like, horrible.
Yeah.
I was very upset by that.
Yeah.
Hermione should never scream like that.
Yeah. It was blood-curdling.
And even though I love Bellatrix as, like, a villainess, like, I think she's such a good villainess, that was when I was like, oh, this bitch has to die.
Yeah.
You have got to die if you torture Hermione. There's no way around it.
And she do.
Does she? Girl. Now my daughter, bitch! Or whatever.
So, yeah. No, like, literally verbatim. Literally verbatim. The sentence.
Well, we're obviously chomping at the bit to get into the second
Yeah, we have
half.
so much more to talk about. I don't have any other very specific notes about part one, except that stylistically, there was an interesting choice that was made that I'm a fan of. So when they go to visit Xenophilius Lovegood, which, first of all, of course, that's his house.
Of course. Yeah. Fucking doopy ass. Fucking, what is that even? What kind of building is that?
In the middle of, like, nowhere.
It's a fucking windmill or something?
Of course, that's his house. Hermione reads a story of the three brothers, and they do this, like, very interesting animation. This almost, like, reminiscent of, like, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Very much so, I thought.
And I was very into it. I felt like it filled the gap really well and was really different from anything they'd ever tried before.
I thought it was seamless.
Yeah.
Like, when you brought it up, I was like, oh, yeah, there was that animation. Oh, yeah, they didn't animate like anything else. It made sense, I thought. And the style of animation, you're right, fit the, like, fable quality really beautifully. Yeah, I think it's really memorable. One of the best parts of the first movie. And
I guess this meeting with Xenophilius is, like, they're coming into an understanding of, like, what the Deathly Hallows are, which is, like, so essential to wrapping up the series. And it's also so crazy that, like, again, J.K. Rowling is just masterful with, like, peppering details throughout the story to just, like, tie this nice bow around the cloak and the idea of, like, the stone and, like, this magical wand or whatever. She did such a fantastic setup for that it was so clean. Like, it's just it's a great piece of writing, I think.
Did you guess before we found out about the Deathly Hallows that the cloak was more important?
Yes.
I think I did too, because remember, we had talked about in an earlier episode, like, the fact that the Marauders map, can you see Harry in the invisibility cloak on the Marauders map?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so that's the problem, actually, isn't it? Because as a Deathly Hallow, you should not be able to see Harry. But then Dumbledore couldn't see Harry under the invisibility cloak, right? Or could he in book one?
With his eyeballs?
Yeah. With his eyeballs. Or maybe with his dick. Whatever he uses to sense.
Oh, are you saying, like, because he had the Elder Wand, maybe he had more...
I don't know, maybe. Like, maybe the Elder Wand gives you... So, you know,
it would make
especially
sense.
Where other Hallows come in. You know, like, they kind of negate each other, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like... It very obviously throughout the story was, like, more than just the surface thing of invincibility cloak, because there were no other ones, and everybody who ever said anything about it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mad powerful.
That's mad powerful, yeah.
I'm gonna snatch that from you first year.
Right? That's what I would have done. Also, he, like, lost it all the fucking time.
Constantly, that little fool.
That fool.
He does not deserve a Deathly Hallow. He does not know how to take care of it, as we see at the end of the movie, the second movie. But we'll get there. Oh, we'll get there.
Girl.
America.
So their learning of what the Hallows was crucial to the first half. Took us all the ways to the end. It was, like, super important. So yeah, that was a good visit with Xenophilius. Oh, crazy Xenophilius!
I do always forget that sweet, beautiful Luna Lovegood was in those dungeons and was tortured. I actually remember being really heartbroken when I read that, because she is probably my favorite character in that just, like, she gives me joy immediately, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, sweet baby.
Okay, well, we will have more Harry Potter talk for you.
One more time. One more time. And we'll celebrate.
Whoa, we know all the lyrics. All of them. Yeah, we will have more Harry Potter talk for you guys one more time on the next and final episode of the original run of all the Harry Potter business. Mm-hmm. But until then, you should listen to these plugs we're going to say.
Yeah. So I was thinking, like, if you are sad about the end of the Harry Potter initial run series, and you're looking for something that scratches a similar, but certainly not the same itch, nothing is Harry Potter. I've actually plugged this before, but I think it's really important now. The Bulgariad and the Malloreon by David
Eddings.
Mm-hmm. By David Eddings, who was a Reed graduate, by the way. No big deal. They are coming of age stories, especially the Bulgariad, are coming of age stories. They're about an exceptionally unexceptional young man who has, like, powerful friends, and through his friends on a journey, he is able to overcome great evil. Maybe. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Maybe. But to me, it's very similar. It is an epic fantasy, and it's worth a read. And if you haven't read it, it is a classic part of fantasy. So you might want to give it a shot. The Bulgariad by David Eddings.
Dope. And if you're sad about anything else that's actually real life, this was just a real life resource I'm throwing at you that I learned about through my new job. It's called 211, and it's a phone number that you can call anywhere in the country that you live. 211 is a service, and every state has, like, a bunch of different, like, sectors and call centers that are funded through grants, some state, some federal, some personal stuff, and they basically are a central resource for you for absolutely anything that you might need. Do you need drug rehab but you can't afford it? Call 211. They'll pair you with partners to get it paid for free, and if 211 works with United Way, which almost all of them do, they have a partnership with Lyft, like the car service, to provide you free rides to get to and from, like, doctor's appointments and job interviews and homeless shelters and whatever. And they will, like, pair you with, like, so many great free resources and tell you how to get things done for free or affordably. And if you're homeless, they will find you a place to stay that night, and they will find you a sustainable solution. And they have just, like, basically they're like a resource center where, like, they keep a database of everything, and it's always up to date, and they have all the best information, and, like, their only purpose is to, like, help you live your best life.
That's amazing.
Whether you're homeless or, like, you just lost your job and you're worried you won't make rent the next month. Like, they have services to help you fix that problem. Like, you're never alone. These people will help you.
What if I just want butt implants?
You know, I'm not sure, but I think you should call and ask.
Yeah, what if I tell them I really want them?
But it's just like your butt's not big enough, and maybe they just need to understand.
Yeah, it's like, it hurts to sit on things.
I think you should call them.
I have to have a butt cushion.
211.
Call it.
So read the Bulgariad, and then if you lose your job because you stayed home and read that because it's so good, you should call 211.
Call 211. and while you're staying at home, just in between, chapters of the Bulgariad, you can find us on YouTube.
Oh my God, we are so there, and it's lit as fuck.
Oh my God, we've got every single episode of this podcast.
Except for one.
Except for that one.
Yeah.
And then we also have every week new episodes of Let's Queer Witcher 3, which is very queer. And pretty funny, I think. Morgan actually told me that she pooped herself when she was watching it because she laughed so hard.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's because the laughing or for, like, other reasons.
Oh, well, you did eat all that raw shellfish on a dare.
But I love to eat.
Yeah, and people were very impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where else can they find us, Morgan?
Oh, man, we are on all of the social media. Facebook's where we're most active. You can find us on there either by searching Beauty and the Bitch or just type in B&B Cast. And you can get us on the gram at B&B Cast. And while you're on there, you can follow me personally at Morganized Mess or check out my website, morganizedmess.com.
And you can find me on Christian Mingle.
Oh, my God, I wish.
I didn't include my face, but it's just a body shot of me in khakis and a pink polo shirt.
I think that's probably
with gold
perfect.
jewelry. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's my look. It's not my look. How could you think that, listener?
He literally just wears all black. His closet's all black.
It's all black, and if his jewelry, usually it's silver. But I am getting some gold pieces as I get richer. But
I like gold.
I prefer silver, but I like gold too. Yeah. But I prefer silver.
Yeah.
I like the coldness of it.
Yeah, so if you want to buy something, I'll take the gold version and Mick will take the silver.
Make good friends, but keep the old. They'll all betray you in the end. You're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, bye, BBs.
Bye-bye, we love you.
Do you have a home? Beauty in the bed.
You look.
Beauty in the bed. Beauty in the bed.
Beauty in the bed.
You're
Bye.